Do you know that your book is not the finish line? It actually is the doorway to influence, to expansion, and most importantly, to wealth. You see, in this video, we're going to be talking a little more about the book as the beginning. And I know most times when people write the book, they automatically think that writing that book, that is the finality, that is the end, that is they've accomplished everything. But there is so much opportunity when you've actually not written, when you've published a book, but then after publishing a book, there's so much opportunity. So most people believe that publishing a book is the final achievement, like I said, but in reality, it's only the beginning. And the reason why I say so is that a book is more than pages. It actually is. It's a tool that most people use to create credibility, visibility, trust, and authority. And I know this personally because I did the same thing for myself with the Purpose University. This channel wouldn't have existed if I never actually wrote the book and converted that book into an actual business. Now, I will say this though, that the greatest opportunity often begins, after the book is published. I remember the first time someone called me and said they would like to book me for a speaking engagement to speak for to a group of women for their gathering and meeting. And I was amazed because I wouldn't have been able to get that kind of offer if I never wrote my book. Also, I remember the time when someone called me and messaged me that they loved my book and they would love to invite me for a podcast. Now, whether you like it or not, that is increasing visibility. And the more visibility you get, the more your book even sells, but also opportunities that it creates. So I always say that I know as much as you aim to sell the book, always aim to be more visible by creating opportunities through the book. So when you understand the true power of a book, you stop seeing it as a product, as just trying to write it and get it out there, but you actually start seeing it as a platform that unlocks multiple doors for expansion, impact, and most importantly, financial growth. But before we even talk about books, I know someone may be listening and saying, well, I don't even have a book, so I guess this video is not for me. Well, I wanted to let you know that we actually have a course called Fast Track Book with AI. The link is provided in the description below. And what this does is that before we even, talk about published book being the beginning, let's actually talk a little bit about writing the book. You see, you must understand that for you to you have to write the book first, and writing that book is you expressing that story that you have inside out of you. And if you actually have been sitting on a book idea but don't actually know how to structure it, you are probably thinking, well, I have a book, Anita, but I don't really know how to organize it. I don't know how to turn it into something meaningful. That's exactly why we created the Fast Track book with AI. And the concept of this is in this course is that it's designed to help you move from confusion to clarity, to turn your ideas into structured blueprint, and then to use AI as a tool to speed and direction, but also to write and publish strategically. Because the truth is that we're living in a very, very fast-paced era where AI is being used for so many things. So not only does your story have value, but with the right system and the right tool, you can finally bring it to life. And that's what this course would do for you. So if you're sitting on your wealth, if you have a book that in you that you know the world needs to hear, you've been thinking about it, but you just don't know how to write it, or you've been having writer's block, well, this course is for you. Go check it out at www.thepurposeuniversity.com or look at the description link below. But back to the video, I just needed to say that because I know we're going to start talking about writing the book. For somebody, they've not yet written the book. And this is your cue to actually go get the resources you need and write that book. Now, I want to ask a question. Why do you think the book is only the beginning? I wanted to ask you this question because I know why it's only the beginning, but have you ever thought to yourself, why is a book only the beginning? Why are many people so focused on writing the book, publishing it, and trying to sell the book, that they lose out on many other opportunities that a book creates. Well, I will say this, that publishing a book is not your end goal, right? It is the starting point of a larger journey. The moment you start thinking that way, the moment your mind goes to writing a book is not the end goal, but the the beginning of a journey to multiple opportunities. Your mindset start reframing. But not just only does it start reframing, it starts attracting the right kind of opportunities that can help you achieve those possibilities, those things that you want to have. So, but before we know that, I want to explain to you why it is the beginning. You have to understand that a book opens conversations. I've been in spaces and book clubs and rooms where we can talk about a specific book for a while, talking about what we learned from it, the experiences we had, how it framed my mindset. And I remember very well when I was reading the book Atomic Habits by James Clear. And when I started reading that book, I remember speaking to one of my friends about it because they actually lent me the book to read. And we were talking about many of the principles that were in that book that were very helpful for everyday living and everyday life. And we were talking and talking and talking. And I remember somebody walking past us and said, "What are you guys talking about so much?" And we said, "Well, there's this book that's very, very good, amazing, amazing book um, called Atomic Habits, and it's transformed my life." And the person was like, "Oh, wow, I think I should probably get a copy." And before you know it, many people started talking about it. So the question now you should ask yourself is, if my book has the ability to stir up and open conversations, that means that it has the ability to open conversations in places that can bring opportunities. Someone may read your book and automatically think, wow, I need this person speaking to my students. I need this person speaking to people. I need this person speaking to a crowd of people in a specific industry, or depending on wherever your sphere of influence is. So a book opens conversation. It also builds recognition, whereby people start knowing you. I've gotten more recognition now that I'm an author compared to when I was not an author. And be honest with you, there's a level of respect that comes with I've written a book. When you tell someone I'm an author of multiple books or even just one book, the opportunities it brings, people will start looking at you. Wow, she's written a book. Like, you can't say anything else. She's written a book. It brings a certain level of respect, of recognition that you can't even imagine it could bring. It also establishes authority, like I was saying to you. The kind of respect you get in a room when you're speaking, especially, like, for example, I remember when I first came to my first podcast and I was talking about my book, and I was giving some few tips. And I said, well, if you need more information, someone was like, oh, I need more information. Oh my God, this is impactful. I then said, well, if you need more information, go get the book. And they were eager to get the book because there was so much value. When you're bringing value to people, there is no way that people will resist you or not recognize you, or there's absolutely no way you don't have authority in that place of influence. So it's very important for you to understand that it establishes authority and then it creates opportunities. Like I said, multiple opportunities that a book creates for you. The real impact of a book begins after people read it. That's where the influence starts. So that's why I always say my strategy to you is that if you've written a book, try and get at least 10 authors copy and then distribute it to people that you know are either influential or are overseeing a pool of people. That way, when they read it, they can recommend that book to somebody that may be going through an issue that your book solves. This is so important because at, at first, no one's going to know who you are. And you have to be willing to sacrifice 10 books so that you can be able to get more in advance. I gave someone free sample of my book, right? I gave someone free sample of my book Before I was even able to get the recognition I needed, I got some samples and I give them out. I also am planning on even distributing it to universities just so people have copies. When people are so blessed by what you're bringing, you're irresistible. So always know that a book is the beginning, but also book creates credibility, visibility, trust, and authority. And I was saying that earlier because a published book positions you differently. It's not the way when you're all talks, you talk about everything like, oh, I know what I'm doing. Once you get a book out there into the market, it's no longer the same. People don't look at you the same way anymore. And this is the truth. You know, it creates credibility because people now see you as knowledgeable, especially if you have a business. It is very good for you to get a book about your business out there. And I don't mean talking about the name of the business, but what services you render out there. When we launched the Ultimate 3, and if you're wondering what the Ultimate 3 is, it's actually a platform that we created to help you using the BDA framework, which is the before, during, after framework, to help you have a successful path as an author, a person that wants to write a book. When we created that platform, I felt like before I launched the platform, I wanted to launch a book alongside with it because that book was what was going to talk about our business. You know, it talks about books, right? It's a book about books, but it's not the way people write books. It's very educative, very informative. You learn a lot about even yourself as an individual. And I broke things down a little bit so you prepare yourself for the kind of platform. So in that book, I created a lead magnet, a QR code that then lead them into the course using bonuses, incentives, and so much more. So now even my book is an ad on its own because now anybody that get access to that book, if they scan the QR code, they will always have access to that link. So you see what I'm talking about when I say that it creates credibility to show that you are knowledgeable. Now, when I talk to people about books, I can say, well, I have a book on there that teaches about books. If you don't want to get my course, get my book. At least start with that. And if you don't want to even start with a paid copy, start with a guidebook. Start with something that's accessible to people so that they can be able to learn, you know, what exactly it is that you bring to the table. So it makes you knowledgeable. People get value from you. It also creates visibility because your message can reach more people. I've talked about this millions of times. My book can go to places that I can never physically be in, even countries that I've never heard of. My book gets there. And that is the reason why it is very, very, very important to write a book because a book will go to countries you've never been to. A book will go to locations that you've never been to. And it's so important that you understand the significance of this is that you market yourself. Your book markets, markets what you do. Before they even see you, they already know about you. So it's very important. I've never met some people, but I've read their books and their books have changed my life. Some are even dead. Some are not even alive anymore, but their books are still doing better. And their books are still selling. They still have respect because they wrote a book. So you see, it's important that it creates visibility in places that you cannot reach. Then it also creates trust because people connect with your story and insight. I always say that whenever you write a book, always write it with these three aspects: a problem, a solution, and transformation. Because you can give people information, which is a solution, but if it doesn't transform them, it still doesn't leave an impact. So if whenever you're writing a book, always have these three things in your mind: that you are looking for a problem and your book is solving that problem and then transforming people to be able to live the life that is based off the result and the solution you provide. It also creates authority because your ideas are now documented and structured. Like I said to you, people respect you more because a book changes how people perceive you. And it is true. When you tell someone I'm an author, it's a different game now. It's not, oh, I do this. No, I've written a book because to write a book is not a joke. It takes a lot. So it's very good that you get that book out there. And if you're really struggling to write that book, check out our course, Fast Track Book with AI, which is, it's available. Is how to use AI to help you. And then you can also check out the Bookmaker. The Bookmaker, it includes the Fast Track Book with AI. It's more expensive than the Fast Track Book with AI. So if you're just starting, you can start with that. And then eventually you can get a discounted price with the Bookmaker because have you're using Fast Track Book with AI. But at the end of the day, I want you to understand that writing a book is very important. Note that opportunities begin after publishing. Many authors only focus on writing the book, but then they fail to prepare for what comes after. After publishing, opportunities can arise through partnerships, interviews, speaking engagements, business opportunities, collaboration, audience growth. I can go on and on and on and on and on. There's so many opportunities that comes with writing a book. In fact, I remember when I wrote my first book, I actually I gave a copy to one of my friends, someone that's close to me, and because of how much value I gave, we decided to launch a course in the future, not now, but future, regarding a specific topic that merges their expertise with my expertise. Also, I was able to partner with somebody else to create the course Fast Track Book with AI through my books. So you can see the possibilities, the wide range of opportunities because of one book. I tell you, a book becomes your introduction before you even enter the room. And it's true because people, if they've read your book and they've been transformed by it, people can't stop talking about something that transformed them. And that is the truth. So it's very important that you understand this so that it's easy for you to be able to prepare your mind for that. I also want to talk a little bit about expansion mindset versus limitation mindset because the truth is that when people write books, many people actually have limitation mindset. And what is that? Limitation mindset is more focusing on publishing a book, and expansion mindset is more of creating an impact through the book. So most people think too small about their message. They think that, oh, I'm just going to write the book and that's it. They only think about how it has to sell on Amazon or any platform that you use for publishing. But they never think of how much opportunities comes and unlocks when this book is written. You see, a person with a limitation mindset will say something like, I just want to publish a book, and that's it. Get the book out there, and that's it. But a person with an expansion mindset, where they're thinking of how to expand, they're going to say, how can this book create impact, influence, and income? But you see, the person that's publishing a book only wants income. The person that has the limited mindset that just wants to publish a book only wants income, which there's nothing wrong with. But the person with the expansion mindset wants income plus impact plus influence, because the truth is that if you have impact and influence, which creates your brand, it's more easy for you to get opportunities that create income. That's where the thinking change. So when you think beyond the book, it actually allows you to see possibilities that other people ignore. And like I said to you, the Purpose University is a example or a result of what I'm talking about here. So always know this, that your book, you can't think of your book as just getting it out there and publishing and that's it. Mm-mm. In fact, I know someone that converted their book into a podcast. I also know someone that converted a book into a workbook and a coaching. Some even converted it into a membership. There's so much that you can do, right? And then you can even then, when you create that other opportunities, you can then make your book a tripwire. What is a tripwire? It's something that's paid that people can access, that it's not too complex, that leads to the final offer that you want to give to them. So I talk more about it in our course called Book to Business Converter, which is included in our platform called the Ultimate 3. The Ultimate 3 is an ultimate community platform that we have exclusively for people to be able to get courses to help them work on their mindset and then write the book and then convert that book into a business. We also meet up every month to discuss, to just answer questions that you may have in any stage that you're at, whereby we use the BDA framework, which is the before, during, after framework, to help you have a success path as an author. So it sets you up. This is a beautiful community. And if you're interested, the link is below, in the description below. But yeah, so always know this, and also know that your story is an untapped asset. You know, I remember when I first listened to Dr. Was Dr. Marion Golden, and he said that a book was an asset, and I said, "What? How is a book an asset?" And he was explaining how his book has created more opportunities for him and also brought in more income that he could ever imagine in a year. And I said, "Whoa." When people think about assets, you're thinking of how they want to buy the land, and that is good. That is good. It's good to do that. But starting initially, the first place to break ground into having asset is by writing a book. So many people are sitting on ideas, sitting on experiences and lessons that could transform their lives, instead of actually just saying, focusing on their story that has value, that solves problem, that creates transformation and can build opportunities. So I say this, that refusing to share your story may actually mean delaying someone else's breakthrough, because you may have the solution to someone else's problem, and because they're going through this problem which you were going through before you wrote the book, and now you have that solution to that problem, other people can benefit from your book. So why sit on a solution that can bless people? It can bless you and also impact. That is two in one. If I tell you, it's two in one. So what, moving forward, I want you to think, have I been sitting on my wealth? And if I have been sitting on my wealth, then how do I then get this book out there? If you can, if you're that person, then check out, go to the description below and look at the resources we have. If you don't even want to get the course, let's say you just want to find out what we do, we have free accessible content, guidebooks, worksheets and stuff that you can actually use to understand a bit about writing books. And then eventually you can get our book, The Ultimate 3, which link is also in the description below. And gradually, when you find out more about what we do, then you can move forward into the course. But if you're the kind of person that said, you know what, I want to put in the work, um, I want to know, then you can get our courses that we have. Either you get the bookmaker that includes fast track book with AI, or you get fast track book with AI first and learn how to write a book. Trust me, we have people that have used this and they're publishing a book in less than 60 days, less than 30 days. And for me, I used this and I wrote my book in less than 15 days. That's how good it is. So, and you're going to learn a lot about ChatGPT and Claude and how to use it to write a book quickly. So, here are some things I want you to do. I want you to stop seeing your book as the end goal. Really stop seeing it as the end goal. I also want you to think about the opportunities that your message, your story can create. Um, it's very good for you to write this out so that you have an idea of what you've been sitting on. The first time I actually wrote down the possibilities of opportunities that my book can create, I sat down there and I was like, I have a whole platform, membership platform, community, paid community, exclusive. Exclusive. It's not for everyone. It's not for you. Well, you can get the fast track book, but this one, this Ultimate 3 is exclusive. I wrote a book that leads to that. Do you understand how powerful that is? So that's just one opportunity. What about memberships? What about coaching? What about speaking engagement? So much more. Then I want you to identify the problems your story can solve. Meaning, the problems that are in the world, what does your story solve? How does it solve it? And then begin viewing your book as an asset and a platform. The moment you start doing this, you're going to start seeing transformation, not just in your mindset, but in your capability to do more. So I want to say this, that your book is the beginning, it's not the end, right? Don't sit on your words, start building with your book. And I hope you like this video. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.